Out of all them LP characters, one of my least favorites really is Sombra, and it's simply because there's not a lot to him. He is just a puff of smoke and an arrogant king, isn't he? But what is his backstory? What is he, and why did he do the things that he did? Well, today we're going to answer that very question with a somber comment. Get your kid ass out of here. Hello, I'm Discord Jedi Knight, and in my last video, I finally recut Ance's backstory, discovering her past. Turns out she was a descendant of Princess Amor, and to keep her safe, the crystal ponies left her with some earth ponies. But it made me wonder, what was Sombra's story? Yeah, I did say the comic really helped flesh out that Anson definitely made her higher on my list. No, she didn't crack the top 10, but she is higher on the list. But will the same be for Sombra? Actually, I'm going to be legit. This comic only made me dislike him more. I think I actually now have a character worse than Celestia. Let me explain why, but before we do that, let's go over the comic, shall we? His story is literally, no joke, cut answers, but evil instead of good. He was found as a helpless foal and brought to the Empire, where he was taught how to read and write. His only word that could be said was Sombra, and for some reason, he didn't know he could only speak in the third person. Sombra likes this, Sombra that. Well, Sombra was hated by the Crystal Ponies, all except one, a little unicorn named Hope, who was his Hope. He loved Hope, she was his best friend. Hope was always excited to see the fair, and with it the crystal heart. One day, the two go see it, and Sombra sees evil in his own heart and is scared of it. Then we meet Princess Amor. Empress Amor would have been a cooler title, but whatever. She tells him the heart can show you a glimpse of what's inside of you, but tells Sombra he has a choice to make. Only he can choose his destiny. And guess what the punk asking chooses? No, I'm not going to hold my tongue. The moron chooses darkness. I love the psychology of villains. I love it when a villain is put to the test and struggles with his choice until his downfall. But Sombra never really argued. Once the crystal heart. Yes, I'm getting ahead of myself. After that, whenever the fair comes around, it causes him great pain he didn't understand. The only pony who could stop said pain was no joke, Hulk gaining her, but Tatu for her powerful healing ability. She soon gets her letter from Celestia, being asked to train under gifted unicorns, and Sombra furiously runs off, sad about the fact that his only friend is leaving him. He comes into contact with a red crystal that claims to be his mother and explains he is what the Crystal Empire fears. He's a shadow pony and is destined to destroy the Empire. And this moron more or less accepts it and goes and steals the crystal heart without a second thought. Yes, he does wonder for a split second if he'll lose his one friend, but he doesn't struggle with that. Instead, he completely just gives in. It would have been different if we saw Fennel or two of them struggling over his choice, but he doesn't. He quickly steals the crystal, and when Amor walks in, she gives him a chance to do the right thing. And what does the jackass do? He turns around and kills her, just as Hope walks in through the door. Devastated by this, she tries to talk to him, but he tries to convince her to join him, to be his queen. It's so Darth Vader. Only I have an issue here. In Star Wars, it is made very clear that Darth Vader is doing this because he loves Padmé, is tired of the war separating him from his wife. He's selfish because he doesn't want to let it go. Let her go. But his selfishness is masked by the way he's claiming to be selfless. Sombra, though, is just selfish, with no redeeming qualities about him at all. He does give me a lot of Loki vibes from Marvel as well. Loki, just like Sombra, was taken in by his mortal enemy and raised like a son. He's an ice giant, but didn't find out until much later. Even so, he cares for his brother Thor. They fought side by side, ate together, and got along. And even when he does find out, when he's yelling and screaming at his so-called father, when something happens to him, he generally shows fear and concern. He may hate it, but his greatest enemy raised him. He loved his mother, and when his actions led to her death, and he finds out in the second movie he does show remorse for his actions and tries to be better, even if, in the end, he still lets his selfish ways get the better of him. Okay, I ramble on enough about Loki, but I think it really supports my point. A character with absolutely no redeeming qualities at all is not gonna win me over. That's a good point. Palpatine doesn't have any redeeming qualities, and I like him. But remember, he's crafty, he's skillful. He acts like he's doing good when, in reality, he's doing great evil. He masked himself quite well with a devilish charm when that Sombra again doesn't show. I'm not saying he is redeemable, but he is likable, and Sombra is not. And that's the thing, yes, a tragic story is good and all. But Nightmare Moon Princess Luna had redeeming qualities. She was good, she raised the moon. She just let her jealousy get the best of her. I could make the same argument for nearly every MLP character, and the same goes for Loki, Darth Vader, Itachi Uchiha, Garmadon, and so many more villains from other series I like. You're not Sombra. It's frustrating, it's infuriating, because here you have all the good marks to make him one of the best characters, and he would easily be my favorite if I could find any redeeming quality in him that made me like him, but you don't. But instead, you just make me feel sorry for him and not actually connect with him. It's one-dimensional, and he comes off as so unlikable. But perhaps it's just me. Perhaps I'm being far too harsh on him. This should be his saving grace, but it comes off as so flat for me. I think it's because we're really not seeing the so-called good Sombra. Sure, he's being sidelined, and I do feel bad for him, but I don't feel a connection with him. The comic doesn't have time to show and properly build up to his downfall. Honestly, the whole scene with him in the hospital makes me like Hope more to him, and maybe if Almor took him in as well and was motherly to him like Hope, I would have felt the gut punch more when he turns, but hey, that's just me. Maybe if there was a scene with him as a child doing something for Hope, trying to show how he really cares for her, I would soon get attached to him. But there's just nothing, which is crazy because of how much I usually am into story arcs like this. Or maybe that's just it. Maybe I've seen a story trope done so many more times and done so much better in other media, including My Little Pony itself, that I'm wrongfully comparing it to others and hence being far too critical of it. Either way, I'm not a fan of Sombra. I'm not a fan of his character. But I feel if this were properly animated, and given the respect and time a story like this needs in a full episode, I would probably change my tune pretty quickly. As this does have all the basis of a story I would really enjoy. In the end, Hope then runs off and contacts the princesses, leading us to know the rest of his story. What is my rating? What is my rating? I give it a 6 out of 10. It would have been possibly a 9 or a 10 if it had properly built up, but let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Did this comic make you like Sombra, or were you like me? And despite feeling bad for him, do you think he's just an arrogant king with no redeeming qualities at all? Let me know. I think when I eventually do his character video, I'm going to do a proper comparison of his backstory to other villains, including Luna, Loki, and Vader. So if you want to see video at some point down the line, feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more. And don't forget my friend's friendship is magic.